Issue 209. After some panels are wasted on recap, Sally blames herself for Nicole being stupid enough to approach the Iron Queen herself alone when she couldn't have possibly predicted she would consider that decision and warn her against it. It's nice to see one of her character flaws of blaming herself for things to easily come back at least. After Khan comforts her, Sonic tells her to stop wallowing in self-pity, and she shows self-awareness by admitting that he's right. Tails complains that he can't hack Nicole because he can't type fast enough. Sonic then gets the smart idea to digitize himself and his friends into the city's computer so that they can do their thing just like they do in the real world. Technically the computer is in the real world, but it gets point. The problem is, wouldn't Iron Nicole have cut off all contact with the computers at Freedom HQ to avoid being hacked? Her not doing that would only make sense if, again, she just barely had enough free will left to make that mistake. Khan asks if this is safe, and Sally, acknowledging that it isn't, asks him to watch over them when they're gone. Khan says he doesn't even know how to work a computer. Am I expected to believe that the Dragon Kingdom is that backwards that he's never used computers there before? The Industrial Revolution never came to them? Sure, it's a warring nation, but even third world countries have computers. They even have cell phones. Sonic tells him that she meant the base, and Tails is going to monitor him and Sally while they're in cyberspace. In cyberspace, Sonic and Sally show up in front of the defensive systems, and Iron Nicole immediately shows up to confront them because she wasn't busy doing anything else apparently. Sally then gives Nicole a headache by trying to snap her out of the brainwashing, and the Iron Queen shows up as a floating head shooting lasers at them even though she's not an AI herself. Is this not really the Iron Queen, just a representation of a virus hunter? Did she just so happen to be at a computer at the time to do this? This is so convenient for the villains. The Iron Queen could have been in the bathroom or busy eating while the heroes were doing this. Sally says as Sonic runs away with her that she could potentially bend the rules of this world to their favor. Sonic then actually lampshades how the Iron Queen could be here since they didn't have a digitizer in their city. Immediately it's revealed that rather than a digitizer being made, the Iron Queen is attacking them by looking through a crystal ball in her staff. Starfleet is annoyed at not being able to see what's going on and is told to not distract her by talking to her. Linda teases him about feeling unloved, and explains that the Iron King is smashing the city and anyone resisting them. Smashing the city that they're running, because that's such a smart idea. And the Yagyu and Legionnaires are rounding up anyone they find and locking them up along with Eggman. Literally anyone? What do they have to gain in locking up everyone in the city? Wouldn't that just mean a city where no one's paying the taxes or working to earn money to spend in an economy? Do they have literally no idea how to run a city? How did they stay in power for that long if they're such screw-ups as rulers? Uncle Chuck tells Eggman that he's got no patience for his insanity, and Eggman says that the name Eggman used to be an insult that he turned around and named something after it. He then remembers that he named the Eggman Empire after that name. Sure is lucky for him that he remembered that. Thanks, Uncle Chuck. Sonic tells Sally that, as usual, he'll serve as a distraction for the villain while she does her own thing. How would Sonic be able to actually attack the Iron Queen when she's not really in cyberspace, but actually attacking from outside of it as an observer? What is he even attacking? Iron Nicole tells Sonic that she's without limitations here, and apparently that means she can spin dash too. Well, if Tails can do it. Why hasn't she tried to spin dash? Well, I guess there weren't any robots in the Nanite City for her to spin dash against. Khan says that coding just flashed on the screen, and Tails gets worried. Khan asks if Nicole physically exists in the city, and Tails explains that she sort of does, but the bulk of her code was uploaded to the city's mainframe so she could run the nanites better. Wait, she does or she doesn't? Does she just exist there as a head? You can either exist or you can't, there's no in-between. Tails says that the mainframe is set below Castle Acorn, but there is an access tunnel running from the Science Center, not that they can benefit from that right now. Khan completely loses hope, and reveals that just like that he's going to kill Nicole, justifying it as putting her out of her misery. It hasn't even been a day and he's already giving up on her? Did he ever care about her at all? We haven't seen him have any friendship moments with her, so it kinda makes sense. Tails flies in the air, grabbing Khan's staff standing up to him, and asks him why he doesn't just zap him already and get on with it out of nowhere. He asks him if he doesn't believe in Sonic and Sally, and back with Sally, she says that if she could apply Rotor's firewall coding as if she could cast it like magic, she could create a red wall. Rotor taught her his firewall coding? Since when does she know anything about programming and stuff? I mean, that would be nice for her to be more useful, I guess, but this comes out of nowhere. She could have learned it from Rotor in her spare time, but this comes out of nowhere, her memorizing that coding completely, even if she could learn about it. The Iron Queen immediately destroys her firewall, not allowing her to make any sort of progress, so that was pointless. And Sally traps herself with Iron Nicole, trying to talk her out of being telekinetically controlled. Why is she even bothering, seriously? As Sonic spin dashes at the eye of the Iron Queen that isn't technically in cyberspace at all, Iron Nicole complains, looking dizzy, that her connection to the host is lost, and she returns to normal, though I was certain that this would be just temporary. She collapses into Sally's arms, saying that she's building greater defenses in her coding to block out the Iron Queen's magic. What kind of defenses could possibly protect her? Her magic involves controlling electricity. Even coding, which defenses in coding would be, is just a series of instructions telling electricity how to behave. How could she possibly prevent the Iron Queen from controlling her electricity? A magic spell, sure, but nothing else could logically work. This is like trying to stop someone who can control bananas by making a wall of them. She remembers her previous actions, trying to figure out how exactly she feels about them. Furious or mortified? She says sadly that she's weak. Most of the citizens are in prison because that'd totally be a great way to run a city. The Iron Dominion is well stationed throughout the city, and they have even more support from the Dragon Kingdom. Sally realizes that even if she pushed them out today, they could come back with even greater numbers. Sally says that they can weaken them from within since they have access to the city that they don't know about, and she apologizes to Nicole for asking this of her. Nicole returns to her evil-looking form, but keeping her free will, saying that she'll act as Iron Nicole and keep things manageable here somehow by doing so, while the heroes will break the Iron Dominion's power base abroad. So basically she's gonna pretend to be Iron Nicole so that when the heroes come back, she won't have no free will, so she'll be able to help them. Am I expected to believe that she's recovered from the control already? It hasn't even been 2 issues! I was expecting that she'd be cured using a program uploaded to her by Tails. Instead, all Sonic had to do was spin dash at the Iron Queen's face, when she's not even physically in cyberspace to begin with? If all that has to happen is for the Queen to get hurt or distracted and she loses control, why doesn't she lose control a lot more often? Like every night when she goes to sleep. She can't always focus on controlling her, let alone focus on controlling all of the cyborgs in the Dark Legion. This is so overly convenient. Not even 10 issues and already she seems to have gotten back her free will. I mean, I thought she'd lose it, like, minutes after she got it back. But not even that happens. This feels extremely rushed. The two share a hug, and then Nicole attacks her when the Iron Queen's not watching, or maybe she is watching and she's lying and that's the point. Why does Sally act so scared then? Tails brings Sonic and Sally back home, and Iron Nicole lies that the invaders have been purged from the system successfully. Sally then orders Tails to shut everything down and pack up supplies, saying they're going to the Dragon Kingdom and breaking the Iron Dominion support lines. The heroes go into another country to find another main villain. See, this is what I was expecting from the Robotnik's Gone After issue 50 arc. I thought the Freedom Fighters would start fighting the villains down under and Mercia after we got a sneak peek of them in the following Ixis arc, but instead their main villains got taken care of without the heroes having to do anything. This is what I'm talking about. Sally reassures Khan that Nicole's one of them again, and is undercover in the city. So wait, we didn't even see Khan get convinced not to kill Nicole by Tails? Wasn't that kind of pointless then? That he didn't even admit that he was right? Not to mention that if Khan headed for the city, he'd get taken control of again immediately anyway, so he was being bullheaded again. And Tails didn't even tell him about that, saying that his plan wouldn't have worked anyways. This issue was by Ian Flynn. A lot of conveniences in the story, although it's not quite as contrived as it's been earlier. First off, the fact that the Iron Queen just so happens to be there to witness Sonic and Sally trying to hack into her city's computers at the right time, spying on them with their staff, is pretty lucky for her since she could have easily been busy eating or something at the moment. But more importantly, I was really expecting that Nicole remained brainwashed for at least 10 issues, not just one. I was expecting that she'd be cured of the brainwashing by Tails uploading a program into her with a doodad of his. Not that that would make much sense either, since it would be kind of hard to get into the city to do that, and she's being controlled by electrokinesis. And programs suggest electricity that she should be equally capable of controlling. So fighting against her control that way would be like trying to fight a water god with a flood. But somehow Nicole is able to do just that. Or who knows, maybe the defenses aren't actually going to help her, and the Iron Queen is just never gonna try to take control of her again. What happened was the Iron Queen loses control of her because Sonic spin dashes at her when she's not actually in cyberspace to be spin dashed at and cause pain at all. She's clearly physically outside of it, so how could she possibly be tangible enough to get hurt and feel pain from it? And if it's a matter of her being distracted and losing her focus, she should lose her focus on controlling Nicole the minute she focuses on anything other than that. She can't focus on that all the time. What about when she's asleep? She doesn't lose control of her every night or whenever she's talking to someone. So I'd assume that her control on her was more like flipping an on switch and not like her having to concentrate on pouring milk into a cup without spilling it. This is so overly convenient for the heroes. I guess that really does destroy the message of Iron Nicole being too dark, because she was only brainwashed and evil for one issue. Unless she gets brainwashed again. And she's gonna keep acting as if she was evil to be undercover. So I'm still getting to see what she'd be like if she was evil. Except not really, since we don't really see much of the Iron Nicole Nanite City at all. But anyways, it's not like Iron Nicole is completely wasted as a concept. It's just, really? It's being resolved that fast? Khan was way too quick to lose hope and try to murder Nicole. And his dialogue about it not being easy for him doesn't sell me on the idea that he is, and neither him or Tails got it through their heads that he'd just be re-brainwashed the minute he set foot in that city. And Khan never says on screen that Tails is right and decides to go home with him, making the whole fight between them feel like a waste of time. Especially since the issue doesn't have Tails being mad at Khan after they get home for what he suggested doing. For good writing, I'd expect a little arc where Tails is mad at him, and eventually Khan gets him to forgive him, and has a friendship moment or two with Nicole to prove that he cares about her, giving her a hug or something. So I'm sure that'll never happen, and what Khan tried to do will be totally forgotten and brushed under the rug, because that's the kind of writing I'm expecting at this point. With the Iron Dominion imprisoning most of the citizens instead of letting them pay taxes to them and spend money in the economy, they seem to be more interested in running a prison than a city. I guess they have plenty of money already from the Dragon Kingdom taxes, so they can afford to treat one city like their personal torture chamber. They have a lot of stress to work out, I guess. I love the fact that Sonic, Sally, Khan, and Tails are going to fight in the Dragon Kingdom, though. It's with the story arc where Robotnik wasn't replaced by Eggman yet should have done, instead of having Antoine's father be taken care of as a threat by the Albions out of nowhere, and Crockbot be defeated by a random Bunyip monster. Now after this I have to take a break from the main comic, unfortunately, because we're going back to Sonic Universe to catch up with that, from issue 3 to issue 12. I'm looking forward to that too, but I was really interested in seeing the next issue of this comic. Things have finally gotten exciting.